Welcome in, everybody. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is once again a return to the CBG podcast. I am recording live on location here in South Florida, overlooking a really beautiful scene here. It does make me think of the fact that I do live in a location where most people do end up vacationing, so that is quite nice. But I hope everyone's having a good day. This was kind of random that I decided to do this podcast. I know I'm going to be live streaming later. Let's see if I can pull this up on my phone. I'm going to be live streaming later with the monthly close, so no concerns there. Don't worry, I'm still going to be live streaming a little bit. Thank you, man. I appreciate the well wishes. I'm doing much better. Jorge, we're not dumping hard. I have no idea what you're talking about, but we'll get into the charts a little bit later. Let me flip on here. Yeah, guys, so like I had mentioned before, these CBG podcasts, kind of returning back to something I had started off on. We're not going to kick every CBG podcast off in this manner, but since we're just rebooting the podcast, this is something that it was originally how I began sort of my YouTube journey. I began with this CBG podcast. It was an auditory form of a podcast. I talk about markets, I talk about technical analysis, I talk about anything and everything in between. Didn't really know what I was doing. Had no idea what direction the channel was taking, or even that I was really going to have a channel. I just sort of started live streaming because I wanted to live stream, or not live stream. I started recording these podcasts because I wanted to record these podcasts. And since then the channel has evolved. I do, I would say up until this point, 100% of my content has been, this is going to be whittled down into probabilities. 100% of my content has been about 95% focused on technical analysis, with the other 5% perhaps on fundamentals. But it's important that you evolve your channel, right? You have to have a vision. You have to have some goals in mind, and with anything in life. And I think you need your channel to evolve. I'm not going to name channels, but I can think of channels that I used to tune in quite routinely, and in in some cases, or I'm having a dirty martini, extra blue cheese olives, very good. I haven't had one in a bit. Haven't had one in a minute. But I can think of a very prominent channel out there, arguably the most popular channel in the crypto space on YouTube. And someone, if they're listening, knows very well every morning I would listen to that because this person did a good job covering the news. Lately, I haven't been listening or watching for a couple different reasons, mainly because I lost my interest. And I feel in some aspects the channel needs to evolve. So you can't keep things stagnant. You have to mix it up and try new things. And so while I'm still going to be doing technical analysis, that's the bread and butter of what I do. I think in many different ways. One of those ways is, as it is described in the description, like, this is just a kick back, relax, ask me anything sort of podcast. So to the extent that I continue doing these live, we could talk about anything and everything. I know I've gotten a lot of questions on workout routines, diet, things outside of the financial space. And so this is really our opportunity to get to know me on a personal level a little bit more, for me to get to know you on a personal level a little bit more, and to also just continue learning from one another, because that is perhaps the most important aspect of all of the content that I put out there. One of the things that I reiterate on these live streams, all in the charts, just like I'll be doing later this evening at 7 o'clock, approximately, by the time I get back, and I need to eat something at some point. But just like all in the charts live stream, I continually say on that live stream that I value my community so much, because I learn from them just like they learn from me based on the content I put out, right? So I think it's very important, no matter, what direction that the channel goes or what direction that the podcast goes, that we're just feeding off one another and we're learning from one another. So let's see who else we have in the live stream. The thumb has been crushed. Why, thank you, Hank. I appreciate that. So is the audio... So I'm curious. I am, right now, I am live streaming using my phone as a hotspot. And I actually posted a photo on Twitter. I have my own little table here, a cushy little spot, beachside. And I have my HyperX Quadcast microphone set up on the table, hooked up to my laptop. So my guess is it's the connection. Perhaps when I do a live stream like this again, I can try hooking up to the local Wi-Fi over my phone if there are auditory issues. But please, this is experimental for me. I've never live cast. This is something I always thought about doing and I've never done, but I've never live cast outside of my residence. So this is something like I said, I've wanted to do. It's a lot easier when it's not video for several reasons. But it's a lot easier when it's auditory. But let me know how the audio is coming through. Wow, I certainly hope that is not the case. Please ring in if there are auditory issues. Guys, I came out today at the perfect time. This is like the old people hour. This is great. So if you want to get to know me a little more, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I am an early morning person. So for those that follow me on Twitter at Crypto Bull God, you can see it right here. You can give me a follow. I'm very much an early person. I get up anywhere between as early as, on the extreme end, 4:15, which doesn't happen much. But really anywhere mostly between 4:45 and 5:30. That's when I'm up. That's when I begin my day. And, I'm also somebody who, in terms of going out and meeting up with friends, I have a strong preference. Or if I'm out with a special lady, my preference is to go out earlier. Yeah, and by early I mean, like, do you want to go to dinner at, like, hell, if you want to do dinner at 5, I'm good with that. But 6:37 dinner is fine. But if I'm home before 10, that is golden, especially on a Friday or Saturday. Golden if I'm in bed before 10, because I like getting up early, and I also have found that I operate best when I get as close to 7 hours of sleep as possible. So, and I've studied a lot actually that the quality of sleep that you get is better than the quantity, but still, everybody's body functions differently. You definitely need enough sleep to operate efficiently throughout the week, and you also need enough sleep throughout the week and throughout your lifetime with your body, as well as other serious conditions that can come up. So it's really important that you get enough sleep. But hell, you tuned into this podcast thinking we're talking about crypto, and here I am talking about sleep. So oof, let's fucking go. Okay, overall the audio is good, but sometimes it's cutting out. Okay, so something I'll try in the future is live streaming using the local Wi-Fi, but trying the hotspot, seeing how that works out. Does anybody here like blue cheese stuffed olives? I love blue cheese stuffed olives. I asked this guy for extra blue cheese stuffed olives, and he gave me 5. So he's getting a good tip. I was expecting 3. He definitely gave me extra. But there were a few specific things that I did want to talk about today. I'm not just randomly live streaming. A little bit of an agenda. Something I did want to spend a little bit of time on. I want to actually sketch out my talking points. It'll be probably something we'll talk about next week, but I spend so much time talking about the technicals, and we don't really talk about a lot of the things with the fundamentals. And, I quite often tell you that the news is noise, right? Which I believe. Nothing has changed there. But as much as technicals are my bread and butter, and it's what I pay most attention to, and I base my financial decisions on in terms of investing, fundamentals are important, don't get me wrong, and it is something that I pay attention to, and it is something that I am increasingly aiming to learn about, to become more well-informed about the economy specifically. And there are a few things that I've been learning about, and that I have learned about, and I'm keeping track of, that I kind of want to bring up in discussion with you guys and get your viewpoints if you want to bounce things off of me and give me your opinions. But some observations on the market, some observations that underlying basically where I'm going with this is, to me, it's been very obvious for quite some time there is a clear divergence between the performance of the stock market, and we can lump crypto in there, and the underlying fundamentals of the economy. The underlying fundamentals of the economy in many ways are in shambles, and things really are going to implode at some point. But it's interesting that the performance of the stock market and cryptocurrencies have been quite the contrary, right? We have done the polar opposite of what most money market managers called for in 2023, right? I was constantly saying melt up, melt up, melt up before melt down, right? And that is what has transpired so far. But at some point, there is going to be a meltdown. The question is when, and everyone's taking their educated guess. So we're definitely going to have a conversation about that. But today, kind of what I wanted to focus on, maybe a little bit of interest rate discussion, but also wanted to get into more of a motivational discussion. Had a conversation with someone, seemingly, I feel like every other day, you guys, if you're frequent on the live stream, all in the charts, I'll mention something about the gym. You have to understand. I work from home. I work remote. Okay, I telework. I can make it sound more poetic and professional. I work remote. I telework. I manage remote. Look, I work out of a second bedroom. Okay, that's what I fucking do. All right, let's call a spade a spade. But I do take it very serious, and I have a second bedroom that's an office, and so, is very important, especially for peace. Somebody's taking a video, and I just gave a peace sign. But it's very important, especially for someone like myself, given that I'm in my residence all day, for the most part, to get out, right, on a regular basis. And so getting to the gym, and I don't even have a dog at this point. It's something I've always... love. Something else to know about me, I fucking love dogs. And for one reason or another, I still haven't gotten a dog. But, okay. It seems like the audio is having some issues. But the whole point of where I'm going with this conversation is, especially for somebody like myself who... is at home all day working from home, it's important to get out, right? So, getting to the gym beyond, being my greatest passion, it also provides me with a social avenue, even though the social interactions are very brief in general. And so you will routinely hear me discuss some interactions that I have with people, because the thing you have to realize is when you're in a social setting, whatever the social setting is, you have to allow yourself, I use this term vulnerability, you have to at times allow yourself to be vulnerable, to have real conversations sometimes with people, to really, in a sense, maximize life and maximize opportunity to connect with other people. And so someone was telling me earlier this morning that he thought a great deal about some brief interaction we had. Now, I did remember the interaction, but clearly it was much more, the conversation was much more impactful on him than it was on me. I was just sharing things with him. But I was very happy to hear this, and he said, I was thinking a lot about what you shared with me about being more consistent in the gym. And so he started to tell me about what he's going to do to mentally prepare himself to come into the gym and to make it in more routinely and all these things. And I said, look, man, First off, if you need someone to hold you accountable, I gave him a fist pump and I said, I will hold you fucking accountable. Believe me, if you need me to call you out when you're not in the gym, I don't see you, I will call you out because you know I am here every single day. So I will call you out. So he appreciated that. But the thing I said to him is, in all seriousness, it all starts with your mindset, man. Like, you got your mind right. Like, I hear what you're saying. You have the right mindset. It starts there. If you don't have the right mindset, you're never going to achieve what you want to achieve. Now it's about putting the words into actions. Because I can't tell you how many people I have spoken to who have a plan. They say they want to do this, or they say they want to do that. And not going to name names, right? But I can think of different people I've interacted with, whether it's someone wanting to stop an addiction of something, okay? Because I've spoken to people who are addicted to something, and they want to stop it. Or people who want to create financial wealth for themselves and want to do X, Y, and Z. And as much as they talk about it, they're not actually doing anything about it. Like, my question for you is, how can you achieve financial prosperity? And there's nothing wrong with that. I think I was born in such a conservative environment sometimes that I hesitate to say that. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with working hard in life and achieving financial prosperity. But how is it possible to achieve financial prosperity and be part of the 1%? And achieve financial independence at a young age without actually working really hard, without actually doing the homework and the dedication on the weekends and the nights where you just want to sit down and watch TV and just veg out. Well, if you're just sitting and watching TV and vegging out, newsflash, you're not going to achieve that financial prosperity, okay? I sort of draw back to a time. It's really interesting. I draw back to a time where, and you guys know I've been much more transparent with how old I am and all these things on the live stream when I revealed my cancer diagnosis. I was born in 1982. I just turned 42 years of age, right? And when I was in my 20s and even my young 30s, I was studying for my actuarial exams, and you can look up what an actuary is, or my actuarial exams, actuary exams. I can't begin to count and tell you how many Friday and Saturday nights, in particular, let's just talk about Friday and Saturday nights, that I sacrificed to study for those exams. I can remember getting text messages from my brother. I can remember getting text messages from friends. Why won't you come out to this party? You're never around. We would love to have you come out. Those sort of things. Sometimes it was a balance. Sometimes it felt really nice because people wanted me to come out, and I knew I was working harder towards a goal of mine. And sometimes I was like, it's a little over the top. Like, you need to be more supportive and understanding. But regardless, I can remember those times, plenty of times, okay, throughout my 20s. And I wouldn't change a single thing about it. Because I chose to sacrifice going out and drinking on a Friday or Saturday night and meeting up with friends and doing that stuff, I set myself up to be in a niche career that is real hard to get into, quite frankly. Like, if there's anything in my life that I look back on and say, like, okay, like, I'm very hard on myself. I'm extremely hard on myself. But if there's one thing I could say distinctly that I'm proud of, I'm proud of becoming a fellow of the Society of Actuaries. It's fucking hard to do. But I had to make sacrifices to do that. I wasn't vegging out on the TV. And talking about working out, did my workouts suffer? No. Like, I still had, some of my workouts had to be cut short, but I never sacrificed working out. My Monday through Friday, and most of the time, by the way, I was in a relationship. So I never, through that period of time, spent an extensive period of time being single. So let me tell you the things I personally juggled, okay? Now, I didn't have kids. I don't have kids. But I was juggling being in a committed relationship and devoting time to my partner, devoting time to a full-time job, 40 hours, devoting time to studying for exams, which you can look up actuary exams. They're arguably the most difficult exams you'll ever take. It was like having 2 full-time jobs. That's how it felt. And I was also balancing still hitting the gym, weight training, cardio, all that stuff. Somehow I squeezed it all in. Somehow I squeezed it all in because I was very hungry for it. I wanted it. And so I made the time for it. Now, admittedly, and I could get away with it in my 20s, admittedly, I did lack sleep at times. Could I get one more dirty martini? No, blue cheese olives, but no extra, please. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Admittedly, I mean, when I was in my 20s, I could get away with getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep. And so sometimes that sort of allowed me to try to balance all those things. Balance in life is the most difficult thing of all. I mean, when you're trying to balance life with respect to your career, your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, whatever you spiritually believe, it is the most challenging thing. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that thank you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I excelled at that. I did the best job that I could. And I definitely struggled at times, for sure. And it's actually a nauseating thought to think about going back into that schedule being 42. But the whole point of me going around on this story is to tell you this. If you want to achieve something that is extraordinary, you really have to apply an extra. If you want to achieve something that's extraordinary, you have to apply an extraordinary amount of effort. Okay. There's an interesting thing that I thought about. Let me pull this back up here. There is an interesting thing that I thought about earlier today when I was thinking about coming on this live stream and what I wanted to talk about. I think there have been very distinct moments in my life where, or in some ways as a generality, in some ways I have been the happiest in life. I have been the happiest in life when I have been the least like what I perceive everyone else to be like. Let me repeat that just to make sure that I'm being clear. I wholeheartedly believe that I have been the happiest in life, when I have been the least like most other people, that how I perceive them to be, how I perceive other people to be. So I'll give you a couple examples. So I mean, you can kind of think on the statement, but I'll give you some specific examples. Being the least like everyone is staying in on Friday and Saturday nights. In your 20s, man. In your 20s. That's what I'm saying. In your 20s. I'm not talking about being even 42. I'm talking about being 22. When I was 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, which is when I actually finished my actuarial exams. Being in on Friday and Saturday nights at times made me feel the most comfortable and happiest, because I was achieving what I was going after. Okay, but that is not like everyone else. That is definitely not like everyone else. Okay? Being the happiest in the gym is fucking on the ground. Like I had a friend come up to me today at the gym. I was on my knees, huffing and puffing, and it must have looked like I was praying to some god or something. And he came up to me and he went down on his knees and put his hands up in a gesture like he was praying. And he said, "Wait, which god are we praying to?" I said, "Man, we're praying to all of them. Buddha, God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity, everything you can think of." But the whole point is, or whether I'm grunting or whatever the case is, like, I'm in my fucking zone, and I understand that is not like most people, but it's when I'm the happiest. It's when I feel the most fulfilled. Any other examples I can think of? I think you get the gist, but the whole point is, the whole point of that is, it's never been like myself to accept status quo and do what everyone else is doing. And it's just never been who I've been, and I would challenge each and every single one of you to ask yourself a couple questions when you're going after what you want to go after in life. Are you too comfortable in your surroundings? Do you feel a lot of comfort in what you're doing? Because oftentimes the largest amount of growth is when you're putting yourself in a circumstance where it's the most uncomfortable. Secondly, are you going against the grain or with the grain? Are you following what seemingly everybody else that you talk to does, or are you doing something different? Third, if you're going after what your goal is, what you aspire to do, are there some people in your life that are giving you a hard time about it? And I will say, I didn't comment on this, but I've said it before, quite often in life, when the most people are giving you the hardest time about what you're doing, tells you you're on the right track. Now, it is important to listen to other people who love and are concerned about you. You shouldn't blank that out and think that, well, I'm just going to do the opposite and that's what I should be doing. But the whole point of what I'm saying is, quite often when you're going the right path, many people, because they don't understand it, they haven't done it themselves, it's not in their DNA, and it isn't what they've exhibited in life, they're going to question you. They're going to call you out at times, and it may feel uncomfortable. But I think that what I found for myself is, the more comfortable you become as a human being with who you are as a person, man, you don't care. Like, you tune that shit out. Thank you so much. You tune that out very quickly. And you actually, what you do is you draw inspiration from it and motivation. Not to prove anyone wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But it's more of motivation and inspiration to say, like, clearly I'm doing something right, because I understand that this person doesn't get it. Like, they don't understand. I feel very convicted and confident, though. I feel very convicted and confident. There are some other things I wish I could share with you in this moment that I just thought of, but those things I have to keep close to the hip, and if I think about it when the time is right, I will share it with you. But yeah, I think those are the things you need to think about. And I think the very last thing is, if you have, and I'll get to the comments in a moment here. By the way, drop your questions. Appreciate the thumbs up, by the way. Drop your questions for me. What questions do you have for me? It's almost 5 o'clock. I'm going to be leaving here shortly, getting back to my place so that I can prepare for my live stream at 7 o'clock. But ask me anything. This is always going to be an AMA. You can ask me anything about gym routines. You can ask me anything about my professional career. You can ask me anything about, I don't know. You can ask me anything you want. This is an open forum, guys, just to get to know one another more personally. The last thing I would say to you in terms of trying to provide some inspiration or motivation or critical thinking towards your goal is, it is a lot easier in life to dream about something, and you have these lofty aspirations and goals and dreams, and you talk to other people and they did this or they did that. But let me ask you a serious question, and this is for you. You look in the mirror and you ask yourself this: how hard are you working towards that? How hard are you working towards that? Because it is the very few, the 1%, that really achieve a high degree of financial independence and true success from that perspective in life, that really go after it. Okay? A lot of people talk. Are you willing to walk the walk, or are you just going to fucking talk the talk? So that's up for you to consider. Let's see who else we got here. Audio isn't working at all, my friend. Oh, Jesus. Sounds great now. Boy, the audio is like all over the place. This is going to be really interesting when I listen to this in syndication. Okay, the app. Guys, if you're having an issue with the audio, just refresh the app. It sounds like sometimes if you just go in and refresh it, you'll be fine. I'm at my 2-drink limit. 2 drinks, I'm done. 2 dirty martinis, I'm done. I gotta get something to eat as well. John, hey CBG, sent a message on Instagram. Could only send half due to space. Wow. Jesus, you must have written me a long message. Don't often catch the live streams being from UK. Oh, man, I appreciate that. I that's one of the things I've talked about quite often is that on YouTube and on Twitter, I really appreciate the fact that we can connect with so many people internationally. Or I can connect with so many people internationally. J. Kim, good to see you, brother. So, John, I'll check my DMs. I'm very bad with DMs. I'm very, 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 very bad with DMs. So I will check. Thank you for letting me know. Does anybody have any questions for me? Because if not, if anybody, again, this is an open AMA. You can ask me anything. It could be crypto. It could be non-crypto related. I don't really care. People have had, again, gym questions, diet questions, all these things. Like, you can ask me anything you want. And also, for those who, and I don't think I'll ever get tired of saying thank you. For those of you who joined me for my live stream 2 Thursdays ago, for the return to the podcast here, for the return to the YouTube channel, and I shared everything to do with my cancer diagnosis, thank you again. And I will be sharing an update at some point. I think it'll be about 6 months out. Maybe once we get closer to the summer, May, June, July, I will share an update in terms of how I'm doing and other things I learned throughout the process to help other people. But for now, the only thing I would say is overall I'm doing well. Still trying to figure things out with my metabolism and proper dosage with the pills there. Switched medications, switched dosage. So waiting for that to pick up, waiting to not feel so cold, waiting to feel like I'm genuinely sweating in the gym more. So a tad frustration there, but overall I have to be so thankful and blessed that that shit is out of my body. Cancer's out of my body, and my health is doing great. If I can squat 315 and if I can squat 315 plus and deadlift 315 plus, and it feels like lightweight, I'm doing pretty fucking well. Especially for a guy who weighs 174, 175 right now. Okay. So while I wait to see if there's any questions that are coming in for me, did want to talk a little bit about interest rates. One of the things I'm going to be doing, I don't know if it's going to be Friday. I don't know if it's going to be tonight, quite frankly. I don't know if it's going to be next week. We are going to revisit a conversation in terms of how markets typically respond to these interest rate decisions. Now, I did not, and I want to repeat this, I did not catch Jerome Powell's comments today on interest rates. I caught only the Q&A session. By the time I tuned in, I only caught the Q&A session. Okay? One observation I did have when he was answering questions is that he wasn't making sense. He wasn't making sense, okay? In some ways, I feel like he, just like he has before, I mean, he's not showing his real hand. I feel like I don't think bluff is the right word, but I don't think he's being completely honest with us. And, I can't appreciate the position that he's in, but the fact that he still is being very generic with what he's saying and saying, well, I need to wait for more confirmation for inflation to be going lower. I mean, like, he's saying what he needs to say to sound like he sounds so tough with interest rates. This is my own observation. I didn't hear him talk. Again, I didn't hear his comments. I just heard the Q&A. But based on just the Q&A, that's what I'm basing my comments off of, this is a guy that, at the end of the day, is a very well-educated individual. And I think he does speak very well. But I also think he's put in a very tough situation and at times says what he needs to say. At certain times, I feel like he is very forthcoming, and at other times, I feel like he covers up
the truth of what he wishes he could say if this was truly an open forum. But, he's saying what he needs to say to sort of protect certain factions and protect certain... the word is escaping me, but he's saying what he needs to say to what he perceives is in the best interest of the public. But at the end of the day, let me just say this. Those interest rates that we have and that are dictated by the Federal Reserve dictate so much of what occurs within the economy. And one of the things they dictate is how efficient banks can operate. And it's something we're going to get into next week. But interest rates, based on all the education so far that I've done up to this point in my life, interest rates cannot stay this high without serious repercussions within the banking industry. Now, in March of 2023, you'll remember many banks were blowing up, essentially. Was it Credit Suisse even a larger bank? I think it was Credit Suisse. If Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve do not decrease interest rates soon, there are a lot of debt obligations that are going to be refinanced at interest rates that are unsustainable for these banks. And the Federal Reserve will need to come in. They can call it whatever the fuck they want to come. They can actually come out and they can call it something other than quantitative easing. They can call it quantitative financial happiness. I don't really care what they call it. But the whole point is they're going to have to come out, print more funny bunny money, and inject it into the system to prevent banks from collapsing. Okay? So we'll hit on a few key points on the next podcast. I have to put some talking points together, but I think what Jerome Powell right now is doing is some posturing to essentially, on face value, make him still seem like he's very hard-facing towards inflation and blah, blah, blah. Guys are going to start... They're going to start decreasing interest rates, and we'll look at the time window again. It's between March... There's a time window based on history. I'm just using data. I'm not using my emotional opinion. I don't have the chart in front of me. Let me see if I can quick pull it up, actually. Actually, we can quick pull it up. Fuck off. I'm connected. Let me see if I can quick pull this up for you guys. So there is a time window. Bitcoin's looking just fine. Crypto maniacs is looking just fine. Nothing I'm seeing there is concerning. We're down 1%. Whoop-de-doo. S&P, I think it's right here. Well, I'll tell you guys what. Some days, man.
If I could eat blue cheese olives every day, I'd be a happy man. Actually, one of the foods I've joked about, is the S&P or NASDAQ? Maybe it was the NASDAQ. While I'm looking for this chart, drop a comment. I'd be very curious. If you could eat one or two foods, like a food combo or a food, and you could just live off of it every day, what would it be? For me, it would be chips and salsa. I've had moments where, and you could throw some guac in there, homemade guac. There have been moments where I have thought to myself, here it is. I have thought to myself, man, if I could just fucking live off of chips and salsa, give me a little side of guac. I don't have the ding bell. I just hit ding, 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 ding. And there were no repercussions of that. Like, if chips and salsa had enough protein, healthy fat, healthy carbs, all that stuff to sustain you for your lifestyle, and you could live healthily off of that, there are some days where I'd be like, you know what I want to eat today? Chips and salsa. Other days, there are days where it's flapjacks. Now, I said flapjacks. I did not say pancakes. Flapjacks is the correct terminology. Some days, I could literally just live off of flapjacks. Give me some blueberry, vanilla protein flapjacks. Chocolate chip, flapjacks. Peanut butter, banana flapjacks. Chocolate peanut butter flapjacks. Vanilla protein, which, by the way, vanilla protein is actually my preferable mixture there over chocolate peanut butter. All right, getting back to the charts here. So what I said to you is that based on history, it's just based on history, the Federal Reserve will announce a interest rate decrease. They'll signal their first decrease sometime between March and October. That's your window based on history. Okay, it's just data. And again, we're going to go into more detail. I've shared this in the past, but that is your warning flag. It's not to say that the stock market at that point is going to roll over immediately, or it has rolled over, but history has showed us that it either has topped. The stock market at that point either has topped prior, in the months prior, or that month or a month after it's going to top, or several months after it's going to top, but there's really not much runway left, okay? So we'll take a look at that closer. Again, it's something I've looked at before. We'll take a look at, but something to keep track of. Oof. I'm thinking of moving to Europe, maybe Germany, bro. What are your thoughts? I have no girlfriend and I'm 27, but want to experience different cultures. Oh, wow. This is a great question. I love this, man. So, I'll tell you what, man. First off, you're 27. God bless you, because if I could pick a perfect age in life, it would be between 28 and 32. That would be my perfect age to, never age again. 28 to 32. And actually, I sort of want to say 32. Because at 32, and no disrespect to you, Oof, my friend, everybody matures at different ages, all right? You seem like much more... clearly you're in this market, so you seem like a much more mature person for your age relative to the average person. But at 32, you're going to be a little bit more mature and more established. So I'd say 32, but somewhere between 28 and 32. And by the way, for your comment for chicken wings, Christ, that is one of my favorite foods to eat for football. Fries, do you like truffle fries? I fucking love truffle fries. I know a certain somebody else that loves truffle fries too. And pizza. Yeah, flatbreads, pizza. Domino's, by the way, if you're going to go commercial pizza, I got to go Domino's. Flatbread, you can go healthy. You can put a lot of veggies on there. I love the ordering app. Really quick. I've had a few nights where maybe I've had a little bit too much to drink. Ordered the Domino's pizza, and that flatbread was destroyed. But anyway, all right, let's get back to the question. The question is, I'm thinking of moving to Europe, maybe Germany. What are your thoughts? I have no girlfriend. I'm 27. I want to experience different cultures. My response to you today would be different than it was 10 or 20 years ago. With age comes wisdom. What I would say to you is, first off, there is a lot of... Look, nobody out there listening to this take this the wrong way. What I'm about to say, let me preface this comment, or what I'm about to say, with the following. I aspire to get married and possibly have a family, depending the person I end up with, but I aspire to get married and be with one person for the rest of my life and for companionship, so don't take anything the wrong way. There's actually nothing I aspire for more in life, to be honest. I've shared that plenty of times, actually. But given that you're 27 and single, first off, you got to take advantage of that. You have to take advantage of it, because if you do get married, and I don't like to assume anything, because some people are very content never getting married. Some people are very content and happy in life never having kids. So if you get married, if you have kids, all right, that does change your situation, your life situation, okay? If you're married and you have children, which in my opinion you should never have children unless you're married, but if you have children and if you're married, you got to dedicate, number one, to your family. The number one dedication, the number one responsibility you have is to your children or your child and your wife or your husband, okay? Recognize that. If you don't recognize that and you don't see that, then you're not married. You're not ready to get married and have kids, all right? So given that you're so young, you're 27, and given that you have no girlfriend or really no responsibilities outside of sustaining yourself, then first off, it opens the door to anything. Number two, what I would say is, what's your current career situation? What's your current job situation? Okay. If you have a remote job and it enables you to be mobile, whatever that remote job is, whatever, if you're an entrepreneur, if you work for someone, and it enables you to move anywhere, live anywhere, well then Christ, like, I don't have anything else to offer you besides just go do it. Like, go do it. Go experience it. Go experience it for a year. Airbnb. Or sign a lease for a few months and then move somewhere else for a few months. The other thing it would encourage you to do if you're in that situation is become more of a minimalist. I believe firmly, I really believe this. I believe that at a younger age, if you can learn how to become a minimalist and have less material objects attached to you, the more freedom it brings in your life. It enables you to become more mobile. It also makes you realize how fewer things you need, material-wise, in life you need to sustain yourself. It's something I've tried to implore to perhaps someone in my life. I tried to implore to several people, but one of the ideas, let me give you an example. I heard this from one of my friends, and I Kayleen can hear me very well. So something I heard from one of my friends is, donate it, because it's just fucking sit in your closet, and you're making an excuse to hold on to it. I'm following that principle. If there is clothing I have not worn in a year, I'm getting rid of more and more clothing. I don't need it. It's the idea that you need it. It's the idea that someday I need this article of clothing when you don't need it. Shoes. Kayleen, you sound like a lady. Shoes. If you haven't worn a pair of shoes in a year, probably best to get rid of it. Okay? So there is not one woman I've met in my life who has not had more than 30, 50 pairs of shoes. It's common for every single woman out there. I'm not stereotyping, I'm telling the truth, all right? And most guys, honestly, are not as bad as that. If they are, look, I'm going to call a spade, you're gay, all right? Most gay guys, all right, they got a lot of fucking shoes, all right? But straight guys, I have not run into one straight man in my life that has more than like 5 to 10 pairs of shoes. Gay guys is a different story. I have gay friends. I mean, they got the fucking shoes, man. They got the fucking shoes. They got so many shoes. All right, it's just. I'm calling a spade. There is, stereotypes. Certain stereotypes exist for a reason. But anyway. The whole point, I am totally sidetracking you. The whole point of this is, what I would say is make a plan for yourself. Make sure you're financially well situated, okay? That is critical. Make sure you are financially well situated. And if you're financially well situated and you have enough finances to assume that move, just do it, man. Just do it. Because worst case scenario, let me tell you the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is you move, it's not what you thought, and guess what? Ding, ding, ding. I don't have my green clicker. Ding, ding, ding. Because you don't have a wife and kids, you just fucking and you're a minimalist and you don't have a lot of financial possessions, ding, 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 you pick up and move somewhere else. Maybe you think to yourself, wow, let me see here. Maybe you think Germany didn't work out well, but you're looking at Brazil. Maybe you're looking at Colombia, man. Colombia, hey, single guy, 27. I'm just telling you. I have been told countless times when I was single, the CBG, Colombia is the place you want to go. Now, I don't operate like that. Like, I don't, you can read between the lines. I've just never been that way. But, hey, single 27-year-old guy, I don't know you that well. Maybe you research Colombia and you're like, look, there's a lot of beautiful women there, all right? Maybe a little superficial, but I'm 27, all right? I'm not getting married at 27. like Germany didn't work out too well. I'm going to check out Colombia, and then maybe you fall in love with Colombia, or at least you think you fall in love with a woman there. But cases, you can pick up and move around if you have the financial means, the right job, the right mindset. I would do it. I don't. If there's nothing holding you back, and the important thing is if you have a plan in place, do it. Truffle fries, oof. Now, I've said this before, my friend, and you are one of the regulars, and I know you by name. Let's fucking go when you come on the live streams. Make it down to South Florida. I don't say things I don't mean. Make a trip to South Florida. If you make a trip to South Florida, I promise to meet up with you. Evan, welcome in, brother. Good to see you. Make sure to tune in later. I'm going to be on the live stream, all in the charts for the monthly close. J. Kim, bull goat. Love it, man. I don't view myself as a goat, but I'll take it. Yeah, man, getting rid of this material stuff, it frees you, man. It frees you. When I went through my divorce, when I was in my young to mid-30s, I got rid of so much shit. I was sort of forced into a situation where I had to move without going into the details. They were undergoing renovations on the apartment I was in, so it was a shitty situation, but I was looking at all this stuff I had sitting in my closet, and then I looked at all this stuff hanging on the walls, and I was like, I want to get rid of this stuff and like renovate and make my place look different. I got rid of so much stuff and just gave it to Goodwill. I didn't even try selling it. I just gave it to Goodwill. J. Kim, do you care to share how old you are? Curious. Evan is being very transparent. You have $2 on your debit card. That means you have $2 in your checking account. I tried paying $40 for something today. My card got declined, and you have $30,000 in XRP. Well, if you're 24, curious if you live at home or if you're living on your own. Hey, fun fact. I don't mind sharing this. I lived at home. I had a full-time job. I knew. Let me tell you this. I was one of the few fortunate. Before I graduated from college, I signed an agreement. Whatever. I signed a document, official. I had a job before I graduated. I knew I had a job in March. I think it was March, or was it January? Between January and March, I forget what the date was. Between January and March, I knew I had a full-time job when I graduated college. And I didn't graduate till late May of 2004. So I was very fortunate. And I chose at the age of 22 to live at home for 2.5 years till I was 25. Because what that enabled me to do was save up money. And then when I moved out and got my apartment, I bought a nice big TV. Which, by the way, I'm not exaggerating. I bought, at that time, plasma was the key technology for TVs. I bought a plasma TV, which I still have today. Yes, I bought it at 25. I am 42. It is 17 motherfucking years old, and that thing still... In fact, I took a photo the other day. The other day was a couple months ago. I took a photo a couple months ago of me playing The Legend of Zelda, the original. On that, when the Nintendo froze up on me. Yeah, that motherfucker's 17 years old. 17 motherfucking years old. Never ran into an issue with it. I clean it. I take good care of it. Case in point, you know what? I'm going to digress for a moment. Case in point, TV, 17 years old. My car, 23 years old. Now, I've posted photos of my car before, 23 years old. I take good care of it. It's got 200 and I forget, honestly. I feel bad. I should know the mileage of my car. Around 220,000 miles. 23 years old. Go on my Instagram account, Crypto Glow God. Go on my Twitter account. I've shared photos of my car. It is in pristine condition because I take care of the things I value in life. And I say that for the special lady out there. I take care of the things that I respect, appreciate, and enjoy out of life. So you don't need to buy a new thing every 5 years. It's like what this world is coming to. You need to lease everything. You can't own anything. You need to buy something new every 3 to 5 years. Fuck that. Apple iPhone is the best point. Is the clearest point. No, you don't. No, you don't. Unless you're under that mindset. Let me see what we got. Good point, J. Kim. I appreciate what you're saying there about the headspace. J. Kim, you're 33. You're at that perfect age that I would love to be in. Evan has $1 in checking and savings. That's awesome. J. Kim is 33, man. 32 is that perfect age. I'm telling you, J. Kim, you're at that perfect age. Guys, before we sign off on the CBG podcast, are there any last questions? I will take one final question, any direction you want to take things. Else, I'm going to sign off and eat some food because clearly the low-fat diet, the low-caloric intake, I told you guys, being transparent, the metabolism isn't where it needs to be, so being extra careful with the calories. It's just a lot more challenging right now until I got my metabolism in check. So the drinks are hitting me a little harder. So I need to get some food in me right now. So before I sign off, are there any last questions? Any last questions? Else, we're just going to sign out from the sunny location of Pompano. Or is it Pompano? Pompano? No, Pompano. Guys, is it Pompano or Pompano? Pompano? No, your shirt's more colorful than mine. Huh? Your shirt is more colorful than mine. It's very nice. Yeah, I like it. All right. That's what you get in South Beach. You get, the guy's like 65. Guy's like 65 years old. His shirt's as bright as mine. I'm not going to pee the bed. Guys, if there are no more questions, I'm going to sign out. I really, really appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to click that bell icon. Very nice. Oh, beautiful, man. Beautiful. He's got a true, I wish you could see, he's got a true Miami shirt on there. Wow. I hope that's me in the future. He's got a beautiful wife. Dude's looking young. He's looking good. Looking perfect. I don't know what the fuck that guy's looking at. He's pointing at me. I have no idea. All right, guys, we're going to sign out. That's all I got. I'm going to enjoy the weather here. I'm going to get something to eat. And let me see what time it is. 5:25. I just need 5 minutes, and I'm going to get something to eat. 5:25. So I'll be leaving here relatively shortly after I eat, and then I'll be back on the live stream for All in the Charts around 7 o'clock. We'll take a look at those monthly closes. And also, the CBG podcast will be back as late as next week, as early as this weekend. I don't have a lot going on this weekend. I was just telling a special lady friend of mine that my Friday, I have so many meetings on Friday that today and Thursday it's like a Friday for me. I have so many goddamn meetings on Friday that it's not going to be enjoyable. So Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to use time to recoup. Who the hell knows? I could be live on the CBG podcast Saturday or Sunday, so make sure you click that bell icon for all notifications. But until next time, everybody, which is 7 p.m. for All in the Charts, let's all spread awareness and carry the education forward. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.